volcano Kelut, towering solemnly in the center of eastern Java. Its activity deep underground symbolizes the vitality of the Indonesian people. The future of Indonesia that has broken bonds with the past and made a new start will be as great as this mountain. Indonesia is one of the outstanding volcanic countries of the world. Of some 500 volcanoes, 177 are still active. On the island of Java alone, there are altogether 53 volcanoes, and Mount Kelut has long been showering volcanic ashes over eastern Java. The Brantas River that flows along the base of Mount Kelut is 390 kilometers long. This huge river originates deep in the recesses of the mountains here, and the river course forms a ravine with steep sides. The rushing waters rage along the river bottom, and particularly in the wet season, wear away the river banks and carry an enormous amount of sand downstream. This sand is a great menace. As it's washed downstream, it accumulates in the lower reaches, filling up the riverbed, often causing floods. It is for this reason that the Brantas is called the Unruly River. The valley of the Brantas, as it flows through hilly districts, has one distinct feature. As is often seen in hilly areas, beautifully terraced paddies are abundant. However, the paddies here are located only to the right bank of the river, and they are irrigated by either spring or rainwater. On the other hand, the left bank of the river has another feature. It is a dry and desolate wasteland. In the dry season, its fertile soil cracks under the blazing sun. When it is visited by torrential rains, its surface becomes a source of silt which pours into the Brantas. In addition, because of the steep gradient, the stream here is quite rapid, and the swift current erodes the river bottom. As a consequence, its depth is not in proportion to its width. Where it is 2 or 3 meters wide, the depth is sometimes 5 or 6 times the width. In other words, more than 10 meters. And since the river meanders at some places, erosion in the rainy season is exceptionally active, and the eroded soft and fine tough sand and earth make the river extremely turbid. As one travels farther down towards the middle reaches of the river, it changes to a wide and leisurely moving stream. Along the stream, vast rice fields stretch out in every direction, and throughout the year they receive the benefit of the Brantas River water. In this rich rice-growing region, even semi-annual crops are possible, and the region is one of the main rice-producing areas of Indonesia. downstream basin of the Brantas consists of a great marshy land zone. The river itself is divided into many small branch streams, and they form deltas with an intricate configuration. People in this region have been making use of the topography here in a number of ways. For instance, during the dry season, they use the river water for fish breeding. Rainy season. In a way, the rain is the embodiment of the devil to this region. The rain is one of the many difficult problems this beautiful and prospective land is facing. Heavy rains turn the Brantas into an uncontrollable current. The floodwaters often submerge as much as 12,000 square kilometers of land along the river and wash away the riverbanks, thus causing enormous damage. Since paddies are destroyed and houses are inundated, people become panic-stricken, and the national economy suffers a big blow. Furthermore, during the dry season, the lack of water often makes it impossible to grow crops. Because of such conditions, a contemplated river improvement project is a most important and urgent requirement. Since the independence of the country in 1949, the people's desire for peace and national development has grown. Such people's desire has come to take the form of a strong demand for such concrete measures as flood control, irrigation, and power generation. To meet such demands, a plan has finally been formed. The comprehensive Brantas River Development Project is part of the government's 8-year economic development plan. The long-range plan consists of 6 construction projects, including that of Karangkates. The plan is to develop the vast Brantas Basin in East Java and to turn it into fertile land by constructing dams across the river. The Nayama project is one of such projects, which has already been completed. This project leads part of the floodwater through a diversion tunnel into the Indian Ocean. The water had previously flooded the South Tulungagun district. With the completion of the project, the annual production of rice in this district has increased by more than 20,000 tons. The Karangkates project calls for the construction of a large rock-filled dam at Karangkates. The height of the dam will be 100 meters, and the effective volume of water in the reservoir will be some 280 million cubic meters. The dam will control floods during the rainy season and solve irrigation water shortages during the dry season. This is the project site. By constructing a dam, this region will be turned into lush green paddies. When the dam is completed, the rice crop will be increased by more than 55,000 tons. The survey work has begun, the first step of the project. Geological and other investigations of the Brantas Basin form the groundwork for the Karangkates project. This is the first time that the complete scientific survey will be made of the Brantas River. A dam project is an accumulation of many details. Based on the data obtained by the survey work, much research was conducted in Japan too. The information and technical data gained through these surveys make the designing of a dam possible. In the case of the Brantas River, a special survey on the problem of silt sedimentation was most important. The fact that the river is turbid indicates that it carries excessive silt, which may greatly affect a dam or waterway after completion. Such a difficult problem must be carefully studied by engineers. In October 1962, people at Karangkates heard the sound of blasting operations, which signified the beginning of construction work on the Karangkates construction project. Engineers and construction workers, as well as a large quantity of construction machinery, arrive at the project site to begin their work. The construction industry has recently made a remarkable progress in the improvement of construction techniques and equipment, thus bringing about reductions in cost and time. At the dam site, there was active discussion between Indonesian government leaders and officials, as well as Japanese engineers, to make this project a complete success. These people of two different countries and cultures are working together in an atmosphere of harmonious mutual exchange and understanding. The first step of the project is to construct a diversion tunnel and a coffer dam. In the course of construction, the flow of the river must be temporarily diverted so that the riverbed can be dried up and construction work begin. This is the job of the diversion tunnel. The river runoff is gauged after continued observation. Then, the height and slopes of the coffer dam are designed and blueprinted. An inlet diameter of this 600-meter-long tunnel is 5.5 meters, and an outlet diameter is 8 meters. A diameter of an inclined tunnel is 5.8 meters. The tunnel will discharge maximum 900 cubic meters of water per second. The construction work is carried out after careful survey and planning, not only on the river runoff and the flows, but on the type and construction schedule of the main dam as well. Construction of the diversion tunnel begins with the excavation of the upper half where steel supports are set in. This will be followed by securing a protective lining. Over the protective lining, the final lining will be secured, and this will be followed by the excavation of the lower half of the tunnel. After the final lining is applied to the lower half, cement mortar grouting is conducted. The war against nature is on, and workers enter the fight by attacking the rock with pneumatic drills. After the holes have been drilled, dynamite charges are carefully laid and then set off. Crushed stone and rock are carried out of the tunnel by conveyor. Immediately after the excavation, steel supports are put in place. After the steel supports, the protective lining is secured. The excavation of the vertical shaft and the inclined tunnel is being conducted at the same time. such work can commence, various facilities must be installed. Facilities for transportation, the machine shop, concrete aggregates plant, and an electric power plant, as well as compressors, have all been installed. Everything is now in full operation. Several months have passed, and on the 15th of August 1963, just before the onslaught of the rainy season, the excavation of the diversion tunnel was completed. On November 5th, people gathered to celebrate the completion of the excavation of the tunnel. Most of the hardships experienced during the excavation are now swept away. Now the rainy season is in full swing. The fight against earth and water does not cease in spite of the pouring rain. The workers are burning with a fervent desire for the final moment of triumph. The fight against the water inside the tunnel is beyond description. Thanks to modern construction methods, tunnel building has recently become more efficient. This sliding form is just one example. The quality of concrete work has been greatly improved by this modern equipment which moves along the wall. The last step is the placement of the inverted lining in the lower half of the tunnel. And the cement mortar grouting completes the work. Construction work at the junction of the tunnel and the vertical shaft is underway in preparation for the installment of two gates. The two gates are now lowered into the shaft after having undergone rigid testing. The gates are gently lowered into the shaft. When the construction work reaches this stage, the workers must work around the clock. They redouble their efforts. Work at the entrance and exit of the tunnel is also progressing smoothly, along with the work inside the tunnel. The greatest problem is how to defend against unexpected attacks by flash floods. Construction in and about the tunnel must be carried out, taking every precautionary measure against possible inundation. Construction of the inclined tunnel is nearing completion. Their tireless efforts now begin to bear rich fruit. Yes, the diversion tunnel has been completed with strenuous effort, and now a dream has come true. The tunnel is a symbol of victory gained by hands, sweat, and blood. Now the time has come to divert the waters of the river, the moment when their work and efforts are to be praised and rewarded. And for those who took part, this day will be one to remember. A celebration is being solemnized with all the engineers and workers in attendance. National flag is hoisted. They unveiled a monument to those who gave their lives to the project. The river will now be diverted with a dynamite blast. river has been diverted. The water is running towards its new watercourse. Concrete blocks and huge boulders are in the water to block the river. The river, for the first time in history, is changing its flow through the power of man. Then the second explosion takes place to complete the blocking work. The river now runs through the new course. All the hardships these men suffered in the course of construction are now flowing away with the water running down the new river. This newly born river provides newfound hope to the people of this land. After the diversion, the construction of a Coffer dam begins. The height of the Coffer dam is about 40 meters. Its crest length is 280 meters. The embankment volume is 250,000 cubic meters. And an impervious central core will be made. The upstream and downstream slopes of the dam are graded at the ratio of 1 to 1.4. The construction work continues. The silt and mud in the rock crevices of the old riverbed are washed away, and the crevices are filled with concrete. Since earth and rock constitute the main part of the Coffer Dam, they must be of good quality, having sufficient strength and durability. Many dump trucks continuously carry rock materials from the quarry site. The construction of the embankment continues, and the dam gains in height day after day. The rainy season has set in again. In this season, the tremendous flood flow often causes great damage. Construction must be accelerated. The staff and all the workers redouble their efforts for completion. The embankment has already reached the crest of the upper intake. Another spurt of effort and the work will be finished. The construction is in its final stage. At last, the Coffer Dam is complete. It is the result of many people's work, sweat, and trouble. On the 28th of November 1964, the completion ceremony for the first step of the project was held. The construction site is full of excitement and joy. In order to bring additional welfare and prosperity to the nation, the rain and consequent floodwaters must be brought under control. To accomplish this, man and science are challenging the earth. When the Karangkates project is completed, Indonesia will make another giant step towards an ever more prosperous future.